Hey guys, Castor here. This video is a collab with Stormwisps.
Hi.
Go check out her stuff. There are many reasons that Darkstalker is not a realistic character. From not being able to stand to being a bag of rotten flesh.
Hey.
Darkstalker really... Hey, not to start over.
No, you don't. Keep going, keep going.
Okay. Darkstalker really exposes how unrealistic Wings of Fire's dragons are. Let's start with Darkstalker's size, and what that means for his physical abilities. This is about to get a bit mathy, so if you don't like that, you can skip ahead to this time. Darkstalker is 3 times the height of an ordinary dragon. This is only a measurement of a single dimension. We can assume that dragons grow in 3 dimensions, x, y, and z. So we apply the same transformation as we applied to height to the rest of the dimensions, scaling up not only the dragon's height by 3, but also the x and y axes. Here is where the problems begin. The length and width and the height are each scaled up by a factor of 3. Volume, which is length times width times height, therefore changes by a factor of 3 to the 3rd power, or 27. Volume directly affects the weight, so Darkstalker is 27 times as heavy as a normally sized Nightwing. As you scale up a 3D object, the weight grows exponentially. If you double the length of a square, you quadruple the area. This idea applies to 3D objects as well. If you triple the height of an object, its volume is 27 times larger. Any transformation you make affects the other dimensions exponentially. This causes a problem for Darkstalker. As he grows, his weight grows exponentially. Thus, as Darkstalker grows, the pressure put on his bones begins to grow exponentially, but the length and strength of the bones do not. The larger something is, the thicker the bones must be to handle the massive weight. Darkstalker's bones do not grow thicker to compensate for this added weight, but if he did, this is what he would look like. He's thick! The idea that scaling does not work in nature was realized by scientists who asked why elephants do not look like large gazelle. Galileo wrote about why bones are thicker in proportion in larger elephants. As Scientific American said in On Size and Life, laws whose effects were non-existent at one scale become overwhelmingly important on another, and reasoning that is valid on one scale may not work on another. A good way to think about this is the idea of surface tension. If you take a tiny drop of water and put it on a piece of paper, it will stay in a little bead of water rather than spreading out everywhere, because the force of surface tension is a more relevant force at that scale. But if you take a bucket and pour it out on a piece of paper, the water will go everywhere, as gravity and the desire to spread out is more relevant to the liquid at such a scale. If Pyrea's ordinary dragons worked, which they shouldn't, Darkstalker, who is 27 times as heavy, for sure would not. The moment he tried to stand up, every bone in his body would pulverize itself. He would crumble like a rock slide. He would die instantly.
One of the common things you might overlook with Darkstalker is the very spell he made on himself. Oh, sorry, I mean spells. He made 2. One that made his scales impenetrable, and one that made him immortal. However, simply enchanting himself to live forever and his scales to never be harmed is very obviously not a good idea when you think about it. Impenetrable scales is all well and good, but consider his insides. He never enchanted his insides to be immune from any sort of damage. Likewise, he enchanted himself to be immortal, but not forever young, which is why he is now very big and has the body of a 2,000-year-old, which isn't even possible, but whatever. Darkstalker's insides then have been aging for 2,000 years without any spell protecting them. His stomach should be ruined at the very least, as it would have probably eaten itself long ago. His muscles would have atrophied very fast, including the heart muscle. Indeed, with his long sleep, his blood circulation and heartbeat are at the very least very weak. His immense size would also make circulation a problem, but that isn't my topic to cover. Meanwhile, Darkstalker should be a wrinkly old bag right now, a hideous ancient creature which reeks of being old, with poor circulation, no stimulation, and no nutrients. Darkstalker would ideally be a beautiful hunk of immortal scales with rotten pieces of flesh within, an everlasting zombie, to put it another way.
Darkstalker should not be able to fly. At all. We can assume that wing size is directly related to weight, so as Darkstalker's weight is 27 times that of an ordinary dragon's, his wings are 27 times larger than an ordinary dragon's wings. The muscles and energy required to grow and use wings of this size is stupidly tremendous. When Twee said that Darkstalker stretched his wings out to their fullest reach, as wide as the mountain itself, she wasn't joking. Darkstalker is literally freaking huge. Wings that are as large as Darkstalker's are impossible. Where did Darkstalker get the energy to grow wings nearly the size of football fields while he was down under a mountain? Additionally, the enormous muscles necessary to wield wings of such a size would be thick. Oh yeah, and how thick is the patagium? And I had to search that up. Apparently that's a membrane that spans between the finger bones of the wings. The patagium must be extremely thick because otherwise it would tear into shreds whenever he tried to flap his wings. Also, to even get off the ground, Darkstalker would need to walk off a cliff. Because, like an elephant, Darkstalker is so big he should not be able to jump. Look at those thick leg bones, not a chance. Darkstalker should not be an intelligent creature. Part of the reasons things like giants and other enormous animals don't exist is because of reaction time. When a stimulus is detected by one of Darkstalker's sensory receptors, Darkstalker needs to have a reaction, like if he touched a hot pot.
Or a hot pocket.
Yeah. The message that Darkstalker is in pain needs to travel from his paw, claw, hands, 100 feet up to his brain. Darkstalker would thus be extremely slow at everything, not having a balance, not being able to fight, among other things. Also, Darkstalker is a relatively intelligent dragon. In the book The View from the Center of the Universe, it says that larger conscious beings would suffer slow communication. They'd end up like a group of communicating people. Darkstalker's enormous size would mean that he would be extremely mentally detached from the rest of his body. His body would literally start lagging like in a video game. He'd mentally decide to move his tail, but it would take a couple seconds to actually happen. If anyone's played a video game with really high ping, that feeling of disconnectedness is what Darkstalker would feel all the time in real life.
But of course, this can all be ignored because of animus magic. With that said, subscribe to my inactive YouTube channel, Stormwisps, and find me in all my other contacts, which has a different username in every site. Bye.
Subscribe to my YouTube channel for tons of other terrible content. Or maybe I shouldn't say that. Subscribe to my channel for other terrible content. If you want to see more, hit that like and subscribe and notification bell and follow all my other socials. Yeah, do it. Please.